Peace. Peace, all my we, the people in the house. This is the United States Private Enterprise Free State with another public announcement. Okay, my people, gather in, gather in, gather in. You are now tuned in to the United States Private Enterprise Free State. And this segment is certificate versus authority. Do you have your pen? Do you have your paper? Are you ready? Let's go. All right, my people. A certificate and an authority are related concepts, but they are not the same. Certificate is a document that certifies or attests to a fact, status, or event. It is evidence that something exists or has occurred. For example, now it would include a birth certificate, certificate of incorporation, certificate of trust, death certificate, or certificate of authority. Authority is the legal power or permission to act. Authority can come from a statute, a court order, a contract, governing documents, or an appointment, not just from a certificate. For example, we, the people, a certificate of incorporation is evidence that a corporation has been formed. The corporation's authority to act comes from the applicable corporation law and its governing documents. A certificate of authority is a specific type of certificate that evidences that an entity has been granted authority to do business in a particular jurisdiction. For example, a foreign corporation authorized to transact business in New York. A certificate of trust summarizes certain facts about a trust for third parties. Whether a trustee has authority to act depends primarily on the trust instrument and applicable trust law, not solely on the certificate. In what we're talking about is certificate versus authority. Now, certificate equals evidence or proof of a fact or status. Authority equals the legal power to act. Now, the context of your trust executive role or whatever state filings that you're doing, we can help you get through those processes. Now, the context of your trust based on your state and your jurisdiction, a certificate of trust is a document that provides evidence that the trust exists and identifies the trustee and certain powers. It is commonly used instead of providing the entire trust agreement to banks, title companies, or third parties. The authority of the trustee or executor comes from the trust agreement for a trust, a will, and any applicable court appointment for an executor of a probate estate, and applicable law. The certificate itself does not create those powers. It serves as evidence of them. So, when you create your trust certificate and you have it uploaded into the land records, You're giving notice that the trust exists and now it has been entered on the land record. And that's what you want done. Now, if you recorded a certificate or affidavit of foreign corporate status of trust in the land records, that recording can provide public notice that such a document was recorded. By itself, however, it does not automatically create new legal authority over property or third parties. The legal effect depends on the underlying trust documents, applicable statutes, and the nature of the recorded instrument. So, your practical terms, certificate equals evidence or notice. So, when you put your certificate of trust, either you have to get a consultation, but your certificate of trust equals the evidence or a notice. Authority is going to equal legal power granted by the governing documents and applicable law. Now, what is your goal? Now, if your goal is to demonstrate that you're acting as an executor trustee for the trust in dealings with banks, government agencies, or county recording offices, the governing trust instrument and any other legal required documentation is generally what establishes your authority, while a certificate helps demonstrate that the authority without disclosing the full trust document. Now, you can present a certificate of trust when opening a bank account if the account is for the trust. But whether the bank accepts it depends on the bank's policies and the type of account that you are opening up. Now, many banks will ask for some combination of a certificate of trust or a certification of trust, the trust EIN number if required for the account, a valid government issued identification for the trustee, the trust agreement, or selected pages of it if the bank needs additional verification, any account opening forms required by the bank. So, if you are opening an account for a corporation or an LLC, the bank will generally require documents related to that entity, such as its formation documents and EIN, rather than the trust certificate alone. If the trust owns the corporation, the bank may ask for documentation showing that ownership in addition to the corporation's records. A recorded certificate can help demonstrate that the document exists and has been recorded, but it does not require a bank to open an account or accept it as the only documentation. Now, your trust, the name of the trust or the corporation, or any other business. So, if your certificate has been accepted and recorded in your state register information system, the main legal effect is that it becomes part of the public land records for the property or instrument to which it relates. Depending on what was recorded, you may be able to use the recorded document to show that the document was officially recorded and obtain certified copies of it. Provide public notice that the document exists as part of the land records. Reference the recording information such as the register of your city, your state, with the register file number, in future real estate related documents concerning the same property. Present the recorded document to parties such as lenders, title companies, or others as evidence that the document was recorded. However, recording a certificate in your registry, in your city registry, does not by itself transfer the ownership of property, create a lien or security interest unless the applicable law recognizes the recorded instrument as doing so, establish legal rights against third parties beyond the effect that the law gives to that particular type of recorded document, require banks, the IRS, or other agencies to recognize the document for purposes outside the land recording system. So, if your objective is to use the recorded certificate as part of a broader trust or estate administration plan, it may serve as supporting documentation, but additional documents may be needed depending on the transaction. For example, if you're dealing with a bank transferring property or asserting a trust ownership interest. So, you would have to tell me the exact title when you call up for your consultation, so that I can help you get the certificate on file in the land records. Okay? So, for example, certificate of trust, you know what I'm saying? An affidavit of foreign corporate status of trust, or any other title. Okay? So, call us up 407 300 5377. Get that consultation. We can help you get your certificate on the land record. Okay? So, big up to all my people in the chat. Salvation and Sandwich. Big up, big up, big up to Zuberhan. Big up. So, in general, y'all, we the people, a recorded affidavit can serve as evidence that the affidavit was made and recorded. Provide public notice of the statements contained in the affidavit to the extent recognized by law. Be referenced in future documents by its recording number. Be presented to third parties as a copy of the recorded affidavit, certificate of trust. However, recording an affidavit in your registry does not by itself register a trust as a corporation, create corporate status if none exists under applicable law, automatically establish ownership, a lien, or fiduciary authority, require banks, the IRS, or courts to accept the affidavit as conclusive proof of the matters asserted in it. If your trust is otherwise validly created and you are its trustee, the recorded affidavit may be one piece of documentation that helps explains the trust's existence or your claimed role. A bank or other institution may still ask for additional documents such as the trust agreement or a certificate of trust before acting. If your goal is to use the recorded affidavit to demonstrate your authority as trustee or executor, you would have to explain the documents, the title companies, and the government agencies commonly request in addition to a recorded affidavit. So, if your trust certificate was recorded on your city registry, okay, That means the certificate is now part of the public land record for the recording to which it relates. It can be useful as evidence that the certificate was recorded and can be referenced by its recording number. In practice, you can generally use the recorded certificate to show that a trust certificate has been placed on the public record, obtain certified copies from the recording office if needed, reference the recording in future real estate related documents involving the same property, present it to parties such as banks or title companies as supporting documentation. However, recording the trust certificate does not by itself transfer title to the property, create legal authority beyond what the trust instrument and applicable law provide, require banks, courts, or government agencies to accept it as the only proof of the trust or your authority. If you are acting as trustee, institutions commonly also request the trust agreement or related portions of it, a certificate of trust if they accept one, your identification, the trust EIN. Now, if your goal is to use the recorded trust certificate to open accounts, manage assets, or administer property, it can be important supporting document, but other documentation is often required depending on the institution and the transaction. Therefore, an application for certificate of authority is a filing used to obtain official authorization for an entity to conduct certain activities in a jurisdiction. What it does depends on the type of entity and the law involved. So, for example, in your state, a foreign corporation, a corporation formed outside of your state, files an application for a certificate of authority to become authorized to do business in that state. Similar procedures exist for foreign LLCs and certain other entities. Now, if you're referring to your trust, it's important to know that trusts are generally not treated the same way as corporations. Whether a trust can or should apply for a certificate of authority depends on the trust's legal structure and the purpose of filing. There is not a general state law application that grants every trust a certificate of authority simply because it is a trust. Now, if your goal is to have your trust recognized in your state, conduct business through the trust, or open bank accounts in the trust name, the required documents are usually determined by the trust structure and the institution involved rather than by general certificate of authority. Now, depending on your state application for authority for a foreign corporation or LLC, a trust, or another type of entity. So, if by ignited you mean recognized, recorded, or entered into the public record, then based on what you've described. So, your trust certificate has been recorded on your state, on your city or state registry. Your status of the trust has been recorded. The recordings mean the documents have been accepted for recording in your city registry land records and are part of the public record for the recording to which they relate. So, However, it does not necessarily mean the trust itself has been registered or authorized statewide in your state, or that all government agencies or private institutions must recognize it. The legal effect of the recording depends on the type of document and applicable law. Now, on the public record in your state, then based on your earlier information that has been given to whoever you're giving the trust to, the answer would be yes, that the recorded documents are part of the public records in your city registry. So, my people, we the people, basically, certificate versus authority is very important because it is attached and linked to the two prior lives that I have done. So you would have to go back and look at those two lives, because then you will understand everything about how to get your certificates and documents recorded on the land record. Now, we help people do that don't own houses, don't own property. You know, that's what we do. We help you get your documents on the land record without owning property. 407-300-5377. Get a consultation. The consultation is not free and it's not expensive. 407-300-5377. We are the United States Private Enterprise Free State, and this is a public announcement, okay? So my people, you gotta wise up, wake up. If you want to be free, we're giving you the keys to free. We're not running you around a mulberry bush, running you around here, there, running up in every office, with some bullshit. Because that's what most of these gurus do. They have you running around, chasing after some bullshit, knowing they haven't told you the right information. They haven't put the right information in the proper order that it's supposed to be in, because they're initially, if you don't want to end up in jail and in protection, come knocking your door, knock, knock. Who is it? IRS. We want to speak to. They're going to shut your bank accounts down. They're going to shut mailing addresses down. They're not going to allow you to open up certain things. They're going to put you in the back line when it comes to IRS tax refunds. They're going to do a lot to you and block you out because you accessed an estate that you had no authority to do. You don't have the authority to access the estate. That's jail time. Consultation. We're going to give you the proper protection steps to take before you go in and get the bag. Straight up. I don't really care if you don't call. It doesn't matter to me because I'm properly protected. No evidence, motherfucker. No evidence. That's the bottom line. If a motherfucker come back to you with no evidence, what the fuck does that mean? That means that you are properly documented into the system. Status correction is in full effect, and you have taken the proper steps to protect your identity and your name, your body, your assets, everything before you go in to go and get the bag. So The road to the treasury is one that is the exchequer board. That is on the road to the treasury, because the exchequer board is governed by the U.S. state attorney over the whole United States. So, the United States, we all know, is a foreign corporation housed in the District of Columbia. So, if a foreign corporation is over you and your assets, they have power to come and send the federal government agents to your door and lock you up for accessing, even though your name is on the tape. And we've seen it. We've seen people go to jail. We have seen and heard of the stories of the feds coming to people's doors and wanting to talk to them about tax refunds. Okay? So do not listen to these motherfucking gurus out here sending you on a proper authority. Give us a call, 407-300-5377, and we can properly give you the protection that you need before you go in to access your estate. You need to listen to what I'm saying. This is coming from somebody that's a prime example. Been through it, done it, okay? I know what the feds are capable of because they knocked on my door. So, my people, wake up. We, the people, wake up. It's a new motherfucking day in the neighborhood. What the fuck did Queen Latifah tell you about the fucking neighborhood? Yo, my nigga. You see what I'm saying? People are still sleeping. People are heavily sedated. Okay? You need to come out of the heavily sedated mentality of ignorance, of idiocy. The id can be your idiot if you allow it. So, you must control your mental at all fucking times, even if you're standing in front of a motherfucking judge. Because when you get in the motherfucking courtroom, my nigga, they throwing all types of spells at you. They got a spell for you not to speak. When you already may have had your shit rehearsed and you go before the court and the judge and the DA, all of a sudden your mouth is tongue-tied. You can't say a goddamn thing but your name. So you gotta give us a call, 407-300-5377, because we know what the fuck we talking about, and we not sending you on a wild goose chase. No fuck, truth, and it's very inexpensive. That is talk from Unite on the record, my nigga, on the record. Okay, registered on the record, my nigga. Everything is a registration, my niggas. We the people, because I do have my niggas too. You know, we got some ghetto ass motherfuckers up in the house down in too, and get the bag. And getting the bag, my people, you must know law. And selling drugs ain't the way. Prostituting ain't the way. It's all about you studying this law, getting down with the realness. That's how you get the bag. The bag ain't gonna come to you just by walking into the motherfucking IRS talking about here's a tax refund. For follow. For you to get the bag, you gotta study. And you gotta be down with the people that are studying and on that road to the treasury, accessing certain portals, accessing what they need to access to get what they need. Already motherfucking private on record, my people. Okay? Getting private access, getting the privy information. That's what it's all about. Having a certain type yourself when at any given time and place and in any issue or circumstance what a title you need for. You got to get in to these classes. You got to get a consultation if you need that consultation. You know, if you don't want to take a class, get the consultation, because we can set you on the road to the treasury with the right foundation and protection. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's all about. It ain't about running around to this department, that department, you know, running around to all of these fucking gurus, swiping your money, taking your money, telling you this lie, telling you that lie. Some of these gurus don't even produce no evidence, no documents, nothing. You know what I'm saying? They don't even do processes that they're telling you to do. You the crash test dummy they using. So, you know, wake up, my people, wake up. You perish lack of knowledge, wisdom, understanding. Do you know what understanding is? It's you going under the ceiling to see and make sure that the ceiling can support what's on the ceiling. That's understanding. If your ceiling cannot support what it's holding, then you have no understanding. Okay? So it ain't about standing under or over, it's understanding the foundation. If you have no foundation, you have no knowledge, no wisdom. You have no cipher. You have nothing. You don't have freedom. You don't have justice. You don't have anything without understanding. You must stand under the foundation. You must go under the foundation to see if it can support what you are doing. Only Master Masons know that. And that's why Master Masons rule the motherfucking world, because they stand under and they know what their foundation can hold. Do you? Are you holding? Are you standing? Are you on a foundation that is of law and you cannot get locked up for some dumb ass shit? Even if a motherfucker tries you and gives you some trumped up charges, you must learn and know how to put the proper paperwork in a court case and get it dismissed. No evidence. That's what the fuck you want. Now you go in for the motherfucking bag. Why the fuck was I here in the courtroom in the first place if you have no evidence? That's the question. And that is the bag. You can get a bag any way you choose to get a bag, my people. You know what I'm saying? You can get a bag. A bag, a bag, a bag. So 407-300-5377. Call up. We don't got locked up. You got more running around here with some bullshit. Because who came for the Moors? 150 years of being in power came before the United States. Who came before the Moors? Who came for any of this bullshit you see right the fuck? But the animals, birds, the deer, the horse, nature, and certain people that wake up to the knowledge that Mother Nature has always existed before them. So, what you gonna do? You better get on the phone Give the United States Private Enterprise Free State a call, get a consultation, or get into these classes, and that's how you're going to get out of your situations. I'm a prime example. You know, I can't tell you half of the shit over no fucking YouTube because you just can't. That's the bottom line. Straight up. But I can tell you, protect that neck so they don't be stomping on it. You know what I'm saying? Fuck that. You don't want a broke neck, my nigga. Not in the game. The Exchequer board. Learn the Exchequer board. Learn how to move your pieces on the Exchequer board. How do you create the two foundational pieces on the Exchequer board, which is the king and the queen? Call us up and we'll give that information to you. We'll walk you through it. We'll show you every step that you need. Okay? And it's not free and it's not expensive. We're not overcharging you like these gurus out here. We won't say no names. Motherfuckers wearing new suits every week, my nigga. Okay? We don't wear new suits every fucking week. We put our money into paperwork and freeing our ass. We put money into helping other people to free their ass. That's what we do. Okay? That's what we care about. So, what time is it, my people? Well, we got about another 20 minutes with y'all. So, let's go over something here if you didn't hear before. Certificate versus authority. What is a certificate? What is authority? A certificate and an authority are related concepts, but they are not the same. Certificate, a document that certifies or attests to a fact, status, or event. It is evidence that something exists or has occurred. Examples include a birth certificate, certificate of incorporation, certificate of trust, death certificate, or certificate of authority. Authority, the legal power or permission to act. Authority can come from a statute, a court order, a contract governing documents, or an appointment, not just from a certificate. So, if you don't have the authority to do anything like access your estate, what pieces do you need to access your estate? If you don't know the pieces that you need that give you the authority to access your estate, then you're going to get pushback. If you don't have the pieces to access your treasury account, you're going to get kickback. If you don't know the pieces or have the pieces to access, court cases, anything, you're going to get pushback. Nobody is going to allow you to access anything without the proper authority. Okay? Authority comes from, should we go back? Where is it coming from? It's coming from your authority is probably coming from registrar, registration, trademark, registered agent. What else? It's coming from a lot, your authority. So I'm sorry to tell you, my people, if you don't have the proper authority, you're going to get shut the fuck down and locked up. And I've already seen it. So, what does a registered agent do? receives official legal papers, is a person or company with an official address connected to business entity compliance, is designated for corporation or LLC, accepts service of process lawsuits and government notices. Example, someone designated to receive legal papers for the corporation. So, my people, we the people, let's wake up. It's a new day in the motherfucking neighborhood, my nigga. If you ain't woke and listening to the United States Private Enterprise Free State, then what are you doing? Nothing. You're just running around with your head cut off like the fucking Private Enterprise Free State is here to tell you that. Treasury. You know what I'm saying? Collect the bag season. What my nigga girls say. It's the collect the bag season time, my niggas. Collect the bag season. You know what I'm saying? We are on the road to the treasury. Come on the train with us to the treasury, my niggas. We the people. Stand up for the people. Stand up for your rights and be free. Not tied down by gravity. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's a new reality. You know what I'm saying? The trees are not fighting with nature. The birds don't fight with nature. They're in harmony with Mother Nature. You must be in harmony with the rest of the elements. It only takes 4 elements to create. It only takes 4 elements to create. Give you your wishes. Would you like to know what the genie is? And we can grant you over. Would you like to know what the genie is? And we can grant you over that you need. We the people. It's a new day. It's a new day. Wake up. Wake up, people. Stop listening to gurus that are getting you locked up. Stop listening to people that are breaking the laws. Stop listening to people accessing estates that don't have the authority. Okay? Do not do it. Before you access your estate, make sure that all your pieces are in place on the exchequer board so that you can be the winner in the game when you get to the door of the exchequer. Open sesame. Okay? Straight up. My people, wake up. You perish for the lack of knowledge. Okay? And ignorance of the law, they say, is no excuse, but lack of closure of the law is lethal and must be an arrest upon you finding out, because lack of full disclosure is against the law. So, you know, it's a new day. I'm constantly saying that. Wake up, wipe your eyes, wash them out. If you wear glasses, wipe the fucking lenses off so that you can see, because we will help you access your estate the right way. with no pushback. Straight up. You know, that's what it's all about. It's all about you getting free, you getting rich, you getting wealthy, you getting on your land. You know what I'm saying? You see, they got Mennonites out there doing it. They got the Amish out there doing it. They got the Hasidic Jews out here doing it. You know, you got the Pope out there doing it. You have a lot of sects of people that are already free in their own jurisdiction, set up in their own states that have their own courts, create their own laws, and are judges in their courts, because that's what it's all about. No one is the judge over you. You are the judge over yourself. Judge ye not, or ye shall be judged. Isn't that what the Bible says? And man rewrote the Bible. Different sects of people rewrote the Bible. They wrote their own laws, their own bylaws. Okay, so you must wake up. If you don't, I don't know what to tell you. You must get into these classes. You must get a consultation. You know, it's not a maybe, it's a must. If you want to get free, if you freaking tired of listening to gurus that are telling you nothing, you know, you got a lot of them out there, and the top gurus are telling you nothing. They are leaving out information that when you get to the door or the window, you still get turned away because you don't have the right paperwork. And they never told you the right paperwork because you were supposed to figure it out on your fucking own. They can't tell you everything. So they say. But guess what? Here at the United States Private Enterprise Free State, we tell you everything. So say you make no money in that, but guess what? Your spiritual belt gets a lot of notches on it. You get a lot of protection. You get a lot of doors opened up to you. Your life is wealthy based on you helping humanity. The birds love us. That's the bottom line. If the bird kingdom loves you, everybody loves you. So we don't have any self-hatred here. We love ourselves for who we are and what we stand for. Know better, do better. That's all it is, my people. So big up to all those people that want to do better in life. Big up to all those people that have stopped selling drugs to their people in their communities. Big up to all those people that stop robbing each other. Big up to the people that want to mentally grow up and change themselves. Big up. Stay on the path of righteousness, my people, because righteousness is what's going to get you through the game on the exchequer board. Straight up. You are the exchequer. Shit. Assume the position, soldier. Straight up. Assume the position. That's all you have to do. What is your assumed name? Assume the position. That's all you have to do. And everything takes care of itself. Just assume the position. They're not going to tell you that. How is the right way to assume the position? Give us a call. 407-300-5377. And you too can have an armor of protection while you go and get the bag. And you too can drive down the road 100 miles an hour and the cop will stop you and tell you, Have a nice day, but please slow down. You too can know the foundation from which you stand on and know that your ceiling will not cave in on you. That's the power. Know your power. You are the genie. You are the genie in the lamp. Rub your lamp. Let yourself out. That's what it's all about, my people. That is what it's all about. Stop drinking when you're driving. DUIs is no joke. We can't help nobody with a DUI because you fucked up on your own. That was your mistake. Now you come to us to try to help you and get you a new ID and yada yada. You know, that is because you have lack of knowledge when you're driving while intoxicated. That means that you have no self-respect for yourself or any other person around you. And that's a goddamn shame. Wake the fuck up and know who the fuck you are. Straight up. That is the bottom line to all my ignorant people out there. So ignorance be gone. Okay? Ignorance be gone. We about to get out of here in 6 minutes, my people. I dropped you a boatload of knowledge, wisdom, understanding, cipher, yada, 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 yada. I dropped it. So get on that phone, give us a call for your consultation, 407 300 5377. This is the United States Private Enterprise Free State with another public announcement. And we are